But he knew it was useless. He had tried to remember so many times before. He could no longer recall the sight of the square, or the fields, or the hills. He could not remember what his house looked like, nor could he picture the faces of his mother and father. The sounds, the smells, and the sensations of home, these were vivid and clear. But the sights had faded and disappeared. He could remember nothing he had ever seen. He had been blind much too long. Chapter 2. The Accident. As a small child, Louis loved to watch his father, Simon, at work. Simon René Braille was the saddle and harness maker in the village of Couvray, about 25 miles east of Paris. A big man wearing a shiny leather apron, he sat at his workbench repairing straps and bridles, attaching bright buckles to harnesses, and making fine new saddles that would last a lifetime. In Louis's eyes, his father's shop was the center of the world. It was filled with the tangy smell of curing leather, stretched in great slabs across wooden ceiling beams. Massive rawhides hung on iron hooks along one wall. Oddly shaped tools were arranged in a neat row above the wooden workbench. Louis longed to handle his father's wonderful tools. He knew the name of each one, but he had been forbidden to touch anything on the workbench. "No, no," his father would warn when the boy reached for a tool. "No, no, Louis. These tools are not playthings. You must never touch them." But the temptation was too strong. One morning, Simon was outside in the courtyard chatting with a customer. Louis ran over to the workbench. He climbed up on his father's chair, lifted a knee, and hoisted himself onto the workbench. All the tools were there before him. The fat wooden mallets, the sharply pointed awls, the knives as keen as razors. Imitating his father, he picked out an awl. He held it in his chubby fist and began to jab at a stray piece of leather. Pretending to measure with one eye, as he had often seen his father do, Louis bent his head close to the leather scrap and stabbed hard with the awl. But the leather was tough and would not give easily. Solemnly, he bent his head forward a bit more and brought the awl down with all his might. The sharp instrument glanced off the slippery surface of the leather. Louis shrieked. Simon ran into the shop from the courtyard. Blood was streaming down the boy's face. As the harness maker reached for his son and picked him up, he saw to his horror that the blood was coming from Louis's left eye. Clutching the hysterical child in his arms, Simon ran back into the courtyard shouting for his wife, Monique. Louis's mother flung open the door of their stone cottage and rushed toward the boy with outstretched arms. Two neighbor women, Madame Bourry and Madame Hureau, came out on their doorsteps, saw what was happening, and hurried over. Louis's mother asked for some white linen and fresh water, so she could clean the area around the injured eye. Simon went to fetch an old woman of the village who was said to possess healing powers. She arrived at the scene with some lily water and began to dab gently at the wound as tears mingled with blood on the child's face. Louis had punctured his eye. He was put to bed in the garret room that he shared with his older brother and two older sisters. By the time the local doctor could be found, the bleeding had stopped. The doctor gave Louis a dose of calomel, a laxative, and told his parents to cover the eye with compresses soaked in cold water. The bedroom must be kept shuttered and dark, he said. Beyond that, there was little the doctor could do but shake his head and tell Simon and Monique